There you go, Xander. Thank you.
Is that the actual bag?
Yeah.
The actual the setup? I was going to ask you about setup.
Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah, absolutely.
Does that phrase? I mean, that phrase "Champion Golfer of the Year." That's got to be the best phrase in sport, I think, regardless of golf. What does it mean to you?
Yeah, I don't think it'll ever get old. Yeah, it's a friendly reminder on most tee boxes when I tee off, and it was a bit of a bummer to give back the claret jug this morning, but motivation to try and hold it again for another year.
So how does it work? You bring it in. Just give me a little bit of insight into that ceremony.
Yeah, it was just a simple handoff to Mark, the new CEO of the RNA, and I just handed it off to him and said farewell.
Are you ready to hand it back?
It's gone already, yeah. Am I ready to earn it back? Sorry? Yeah, absolutely.
I was looking at it's interesting that the sort of questions that journalists ask you, and you must be very familiar with them, and there is a role that you have to play as Open Champion, I guess, coming into this week. What's that been like? What does that mean? Because you're carrying the story of the event to an extent, aren't they?
I mean, maybe not in this town, but I feel like there's a bigger story brewing, which might help me sort of fly under the radar a little bit. But yeah, there's just returning the trophy, a few more interviews, coming here to visit this beautiful bar. So more things, all really good problems to have.
Do you like being famous? In terms of, did you notice an uptick in terms of people's awareness of you?
I mean, I definitely don't like any of it, to be honest. Just the truth and only the truth. Yeah, I'd say I'm a pretty low-key guy. I try to I like to needle people, but from the darkness, usually.
Needle from the darkness?
Yeah, I'm that guy. So
that's like a third album title.
Yeah, so for the most part, yeah, definitely more, after the 2 majors last year, more people yelling my name, more recognition, wherever I go. My wife is funny. She doesn't really know a whole lot about golf. We've been together for 11 years, and we'll go out and someone will ask me for a photo, and she goes, "People really do know you, huh?" Oh, yes, love, they do, I guess.
And is it true you only invited 8 people to your wedding? That's a pretty private affair.
Yeah, that could be dogs included. Yeah, it was in our backyard, and I lived in Las Vegas at the time.
Right, let's talk about last year. What stays with you? What's the bit that you sort of think, okay, I look back, what am I taking? We're going to talk about this year in a minute, but just let's go back.
Yeah, last year felt very much of like a team year. I felt like I was getting really good work in with, I got a new swing coach. I pretty much had a new strength and conditioning coach. Put extra work in with my putting coach. Austin and I were, everyone was firing on a good level, and that gave me a lot of confidence. It was a big haul to have a new coach. Scary, obviously, being with my dad for my entire life.
Yeah.
So a lot of trust in people, and I think my dad helped me build a really good foundation. And so, it was a lot of, like I said, a lot of trust in my team, and the results started to come, and then it just started snowballing pretty quickly.
Can you explain? I mean, you've been in contention so often. The stats are pretty incredible, aren't they, in the last 5 years in terms of the majors? How does it play? How do you are you someone who focuses on those at the start of the year? Is there something that you're not telling us about why you're here in those
at majors? Yeah, awards? Someone just asked me that today. Is there something that clicked for you at majors? Why do you play so well? I just, as a kid, I always felt, venues like this, courses like this, they're just, you want to be in the mix. You want to be on Sunday or Saturday. You want to be late in the groups. You want to be with the roars, the crowds, all of that. That's where it's the most fun. Playing for 50th on Sunday, hearing everything from a distance it's part of our job, and it's probably the worst part of our job. That's the thing I like the least. Trying to go from 50th to 30th. It's important, but when you're in contention, win or lose, that's the most fun you can have. So I think I really just look for that selfishly and try to put myself there.
What's the difference between playing well and not playing well for you? I mean, you know, for someone like me, it's obviously impossible to spot the difference. So,
A few too many drinks here, not enough there.
Talking about me or you?
No, I'm talking about you.
I think we take that as read.
Yeah, it's always, there's a saying, you know, the pros they always say, oh, you're a lot closer than you may think at times. You kind of say that once you start playing well again, coming off of what can be a bad stretch. So it's pretty small, I think. You know, everyone says golf is really between your ears, and I think that's where you're closer than you think a portion comes in.
And lots of people, your coach included, says that's where you're really strong, between the ears. You're oddly focused.
Good thing my wife's not here. Yeah, I try to be. I think my dad tried to raise me a certain way, and you know, it was a weird household. You know, my dad's half French, half German. My mom's Taiwanese and grew up in Japan. So, you know, exactly. And I'm American, so yeah. Whenever I went to my friends, all my American friends, you know, things were very different in their houses compared to ours. So I think my dad just tried to lean on me in a certain way at a very young age to make sure that I was tough enough for moments when I was older.
There's a story that you haven't, or when you were sort of 18 is the first time you ever saw your swing, that you never allowed you to see it on video.
Did a little dive on me, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah, that's true. All my friends knew. My dad, they call him the ogre for different reasons. He's just a lovely guy at times. Yeah, they were all scared of him to be the friend that showed me my swing on camera.
What was it like seeing it for the first time? I mean,
his rule was, you know, I'll show you your swing when it's perfect, and it's far from perfect, so you can't look at it. Tough love, as they say.
That's pretty good, isn't it? I mean, at a time when everyone is filming everything.
Yeah, and now here I am, you know, looking at my swing. The last week was actually the first week at the Scottish Open where I didn't look at my swing at all. So try to get back to some old roots.
Is that okay? So let's just talk about that, because you said something interesting at the press conference at the Genesis last week, where you talked about not playing golf swing. I just wanted you to explain that, because I think I understand it, but just...
Yeah, my dad always said, you know, everyone has their natural move, their natural swing. If you just grab a club and, you know, close your eyes and swing, it should show up a certain way. And I used to hit golf balls with my eyes closed. Yes, I would chunk it. Yes, I would blade it. But just to have, you know, feel my swing. And I used to do that a lot as a kid. And I think when, you know, you look at your swing too much, you start to pick yourself apart. Kind of just like anything, to be honest. And so I was sitting there nitpicking myself, coming off injury. This doesn't look good. This doesn't look like last year. This doesn't feel right. And then here I am, you know, acting like a complete robot on the range. So that's kind of what I meant.
And there was another, you mentioned there about the weather and actually the conditions here, and whether that forces you just to play golf rather than get too technical. Is that part of it?
Yeah. Growing up in San Diego, it's so perfect all the time. You know, it's literally 75 degrees and blowing 5 to 10 miles an hour. And for some reason, I really enjoy playing links golf. Something about it raining and it being windy, and you kind of see the dunes and you see some bunkers that you can't hit it in, and you just start to paint a picture in your head of what you need to do. And then for some reason, you know, I think my swing just kind of gets there. So that's kind of what I meant when I said that, was I really start to stop playing golf swing. You know, I stop looking at the camera. I don't really care how this goes. I just need to get it somewhere over there and not in this bunker.
At last I can relate to you.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that final nine. You know, you played brilliantly last year, obviously, to win. But the back nine just felt like you must have been in that sort of place, were you?
Yeah, I was in a place where I had, you know, probably the most confidence I ever had in my entire life after coming off of the PGA at Valhalla, and I just kept telling myself, you know, I played the U.S. Open and never got in the mix, and I just said, please, you know, I love links golf, like, please just give myself a chance. And, you know, kind of perfect storm came through. Saturday was brutal. I played really well, and then Sunday was sort of the same mentality. You know, I told myself Sunday was actually easier than Saturday, so I said, I don't see what the big deal is right now, you know, like, go and get it, you know. So that's what I did, and yeah, I never looked back, never really looked too far forward, kind of just pick the back nine apart, which is a a lot easier said than done.
So, yeah, I agree. Right, this year then, I'm interested in how you're feeling, because you've shot low. You were 65 last year.
Mm-hmm.
But you didn't,
Didn't play great, yeah.
Didn't play great at the end, but that must give you something in terms of coming in here.
Yeah, it's good to know. There's been courses where I go and I've never shot lower than 69, so I think it's good to to know some putts were going in, hitting some good shots around the property. I can't really remember what the wind was, but I played 9 holes today and I was like, this place is pretty hard. It's Monday, so hopefully I sharpen up a little bit more, but hence the beer. Rough day at work.
What's the worst that can happen?
Yeah, exactly.
What's the difference between Troon and here?
Troon's just, it feels very one way out and one way in. I think that's the biggest, it's sort of all right to left wind going out, and then coming in, it's sort of like 1 or 2 holes of some right to left, and then everything's left to right. So I think you start to like visualize how you're hitting your shots. I hate fighting the wind. It's one of the rules my dad taught me when you play overseas. You can't fight the wind here. He goes, I don't care who you are, you're not fighting this wind. So you have to go with it. Whether it means aiming in the middle of the ocean and having your ball move off of it, that's just what you have to do. So I think that's the biggest difference here. There's a lot of crosswinds on all holes. It's sort of hard to put yourself, on the map. Every hole feels like it's somewhat left to right or somewhat right to left. And there's no sort of straight down wind holes or straight into the wind holes, which makes it really hard.
Wow. Does it make you feel like a more complete golfer? Something Phil Mickelson said, I think, after he won at Muirfield, he felt like he was a more complete golfer for winning the Open Championship. It feels like there's something in that.
It just made me feel really proud. I think being a San Diego kid, growing up, in perfect weather, coming over and playing in pissing rain and wind. It's just, it makes me proud. Just really happy that, I used to go. It rains like 10 or 15 days in San Diego, and I remember waiting for the rain to come so I could go practice in it like a crazy person, because I was like, I'm never going to experience this anywhere else. So I just always look forward to it.
So to get away from your dad, I suppose.
No, he was right there with me. Don't worry.
Is it true you played football? You're a good footballer, weren't you?
Yeah,
and by football, I mean
so
proper
young.
football.
Yeah, of course. My dad's European, I know. Yeah, I did. It was my first love. I was so young when I played. I think I stopped when I was 11 or 12, but.
There's a question I've got to ask you, which is that
fire.
Wikipedia says.
Oh, here we go.
Okay.
Must be right.
Wikipedia says that you gave up football after the coach wouldn't move you from being a defensive midfielder to an offensive midfielder,
Wow.
which feels like something we should talk about.
Yeah. Had some serious identity problems as a kid. No, it's true. Yeah, I played back, and I wanted to try and score. And I had a Brazilian coach at the time, Rodrigo, and he said, "Nope, you're playing back. You're sweeping." And I said, "All right." And then I ended up quitting shortly after once we kept losing. So clearly I wasn't very good at sweeping. So
we've got to mention the Olympics, because obviously you won Olympic gold. Given your dad's background, because he was a very talented athlete, and the Olympics was on his radar. You must have. I'm assuming you were very pro golf in the Olympics when it all started.
Sorry, the last part.
I'm assuming you were very pro golf being in the Olympics.
If we could keep it in here, I actually wasn't, to be honest. I'm kind of traditional when it comes to just having it be sort of track and field, swimming. I think golf will be maybe in 50 years. I think it might be much cooler. There's only been 2 Olympic gold, two medals in quite some time in golf. So, I think it might be cooler down the road, but kind of a weirdo when it comes to that stuff.
That wasn't the answer I was expecting.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very happy to have it, of course, but that's just my opinion. Hot take of the night.
Talk me through this, because I was watching you on telly. We were in the Callaway house earlier, and you suddenly popped up, and they were asking you to hit. There was a particular shot they were asking you to hit, wasn't it? Shane Lowry's.
Yeah, exactly. They wanted me to replicate Shane Lowry's shot on 18. I forgot that he had like a 6-shot lead. He could have just putted it. They made it so dramatic, you know. You had to hit the green. I'm like, no, you didn't. I mean, he could have kicked it.
The other bit about it that was odd is that you hit it really like, because there was a sort of Giant's Causeway thing that he mocked up, and you had to, and you hit it, and you sort of, and they were like very blasé, and I thought, well, that.
It was a career shot for me.
It was.
Yeah. Ice cold, no glove, clubbed up, swung smooth. Chris Como would have been proud of me. Swing coach.
Oh, before you hit, you said, "Is this turf normalised?" And I've got to ask you what that means. That feels like a TGL.
No, the machine. Is a machine normalized, not the turf.
So, what does normalised mean?
Normalized means there's different machines. Excuse me, and sometimes the machine either has cameras or it has like TrackMan has an actual like military grade radar.
Okay.
So if you hit a ball straight towards towards the water right now, it's gonna be into the wind, and it'll say 155 went 110, where a normalized machine will only read the 155. So that's what I was asking. If I actually have to play for the downwind, or if I just hit a range 175 shot. Too much nerdy stuff. Apologies.
It's not too nerdy. I love the nerdy stuff. But what I thought it was something to do with TGL. I thought that was a sort of the link.
If you want to get really nerdy,
Go on.
the turf can affect how the ball's compressed. So if it's fluffy, you'll hit it higher in the face, which will take spin off. If it's tighter and kind of thicker, you might hit it low in the face and the ball will actually spin up. Stuff you don't have to really worry about on links golf. You either hit it solid or you kind of don't.
I'll tell you what, you weren't here, but out there earlier, I mean, people go on about having winning 2 majors and pressure and all that stuff. There was a scene out here, and they were trying to hit that with wedges, and you had the Four brothers and
That seems impossible.
with Niall Horan
with wedges. Maybe a 3-iron or something.
I don't know who won that, by the way. Someone will tell me later. Let's talk about the bag. Is there anything particular going on? What do you think about in terms of this week, in terms of equipment and Callaway? I was going to ask what the Callaway van would say about you, and we texted them, but they were too busy, and we couldn't get a proper answer.
My goal with the Callaway van is to, just like my golf swing and tinkering, try to not spend much time in it. That's kind of my rule. If I'm spending too much time in there, then I don't feel comfortable with something in my bag, and I love the irons. That sometimes people feel if they have too much more nerdy stuff, too much bounce on their irons, coming over and playing links golf, it doesn't feel right. So they may change the grind and the soul of it. But I'm very content with my bag, and that's always my goal. I kind of know what I'm going to get into when I come over here.
So you don't want too much change?
No, not really.
And you're not is that just because I was again looking at the range, people were sort of very, very ferociously measuring what they were doing and trying to work out whether they were talking, different setups or whatever. You're not going to do any of that.
Everyone's just faking it. Looking important. Everyone's just trying to act like they're. I'm kidding. It depends where you're at. The ideal would be to do less work on a major week. Just the best I've played is usually if you can get a little. If you're doing less work and you see guys aren't out there for a very long time, it means your game's in a good place, and that's always a good thing.
Okay. Well, listen.
Betting tip for the week.
You're my bet for this week, by the way.
All right.
You can do all the.
I'll stop drinking.
You're in the harbor box.
Whatever works, I don't care. I tried to do, with the AI you get involved, I was trying to work out, if I'd have put a tenner on you every time you, for the majors in the last 5 years, trying how much money I would have made. And it was just
Had to keep betting.
It was so convoluted that I just gave up. But it was going to be a lot of money.
You'll love this. All my friends, I don't even know if I'm supposed to know this or not, but all my friends, they would tell me, but they would bet on me every major to win. And I'm like, why don't you just bet something else? You know what I mean? Like a win is tough. And the PGA at Valhalla was the first time the entire group of friends stopped betting. And then they told me, and they're upset with me, of course. They're asking me to cover all their bets and everything. They've been betting on me for 10 years, it feels like, you know, like 6 years straight. And they stopped betting. I thought they were over it. They're like, screw this kid. We're over him. We're going to go to someone else.
We're getting off this loser.
So I told them, I was like, you guys are never allowed to bet on me again.
Fantastic. Right, okay, well, that's where my money is. Huge round of applause and a thank you for Xander.